if you are a high achiever, if you are someone who pushes beyond the status quo, who sets the bar really high for yourself, then you already know the importance of getting up when you fall down. But today we're going to go beyond the cliche, and I'm going to give you the 3 ways that you can build your most robust resilience. And I'm also going to let you in on the thing that you shouldn't do that will not help you build that resilience, however alluring it may seem. Look, a quick Google search on how to build resilience will come up with all these lists of the 7 things you need to do, the 5 R's of resilience, all this huge scope of things to build your resilience. But the truth is, there's only 3 things that you actually need to do to build the most robust resilience. What are we talking about when we talk about resilience? This is the ability to keep going when you get knocked down. And if you are someone who has set the bar high, if you are reaching for the most ambitious goals you can come up with, then things are not always going to go according to plan. In fact, you are setting yourself up for times when it's going to be rocky, when it is not going to work out the way you thought. And that, in its very nature, is part of the journey. But you need to make sure that you have the ability to keep going, because that's what's going to set you apart from everyone else. Now, why does it matter? Why do we need to have this resilient quality, the ability to keep going? Because it's not always going to be clear sailing. And if you let those knocks keep you down, then you're never going to achieve those most ambitious goals. So we need to have tools in our toolbox in order to prepare for those tougher times, to prepare for the quote unquote failures, to prepare for the knocks that will come, especially if you have set the bar high. So as I said, they're going to go into these 3 ways to develop your resilience. And at the end, I am going to share one thing that is not going to help you. And this is a common misconception because a lot of people are going to tell you that it is, and it's not. So let's make sure we dive into that as well. So the first thing, if you are wanting to build that robust resilience, is to actually look into your past, to find some challenge that you have overcome. Now, what I need to be super clear about here is that challenge that you go into your past and you find, as an example, it can be something really small. All it needs, the parameters of it just need to be that it is something that you thought was going to be difficult, that in fact was hard for you, and you came out the other side. You managed to succeed. The reason that this is important is because you need to have in your memory a template, somewhere in which you have succeeded in overcoming a challenge. Because by understanding that, by knowing that, by owning that previous experience, you have this template for resilience. You have already been resilient, but we need to call it by its name. So go into your past, find an example of some challenge that you've had, something that you knew was going to be difficult, or something that came out of the blue and knocked you off your course, knocked you off your feet. Make sure that you get a piece of paper, write it down, grab your journal, and lay out exactly what happened, what you went through, what you were feeling, all of the things that made you maybe doubt the goals you were going after, or that made you insecure, or that made you fearful, or that made you feel like you couldn't keep going. Lay it all out, illustrate that experience. And then, and this is obviously the most important bit of this step, is you've got to then relay and remember what you did next, how you overcame it, which character traits came to the front to get you out of that difficult situation, or beyond, or move through it, or transition to the next stage. Because when we are able to reflect on what we did to get out of that sticky situation or to overcome that challenge, we're reminding ourselves that that is possible and that we have that within our narrative, within our past, and moving forward. So that's the first thing that you need to do, is find this example from your past. And you have one, even if you feel like, oh no, I always give up, or I always get knocked down, or I've never had a challenge. If that's the case, wow, well done. But you still have this something in your past, maybe something from your childhood childhood. Find an example of a challenge that came up in your life that you were able to overcome. It could be something really small, like you double booked yourself and you had to suddenly be in 2 places at once, and you managed to rearrange one of your bookings so that you could successfully commit to each of those priorities, whatever. Or it could be something way bigger, of course, like when you lost your job and you managed to get through that really rocky period where there was no income coming in, but you still got through and you got yourself back on your feet. So anything that you have in your experience of your life that knocked you off your feet and you were able to stand up again. That's what we're looking for here, and I want you to write that down. And if there's loads of them, just pick one that you can really flesh out. So that becomes your kind of point of reference, so that you can go, no, I have gotten through challenges in the past. I know how to do this. This is within my capability. And the reason that this step is so important is that when our resilience is called up, when we need to bring our resilience to the front, we need to easily recall a time when it has worked for us in the past. But if we don't call it by its name, if we don't point to it and say that is the time when I was resilient, then we won't know to refer to it. By having that fleshed out, you have developed your confidence. Even if it doesn't feel like it at the moment, that is the confidence and the courage that is going to help you move on when you are faced with your next challenge. The number 2 way to build up that most robust resilience is to keep your eye on the prize. And this is all about making sure that you are forming really clear goals and that your goals are at the forefront at all times. Now, if you are a high achiever, if you are someone who is, as we talked about at the beginning, already going for those high goals, you've set the bar high, you are reaching for your true potential, then I'm going to guess you have spent some time thinking about what those goals are, which is fantastic. And if you haven't, then make sure you do take the time to clarify your goals, to make sure that they are rock solid. There are loads of resources out there on how to give yourself your best goals. And in fact, if this is an area that you're interested in, if you want to spend more time focusing in and clarifying your goals, then do make sure to check out this video, because I will give you all the resources you need in that video to highlight your goals and how they are going to work best for you. Also check out the free resources below, because that's going to give you an opportunity to dive a bit deeper. So I'm going to assume that you've done that work, that you have these really clear goals. Well, the reason that is important in building your resilience is every time you get knocked down, every time things don't go according to plan, having those goals clear in your head, it's like a shining beacon, right? It's like the light in the lighthouse that will guide you to the shore when you're in the middle of the rough seas. That's what those goals represent. However, if they're vague, if they're not clear in your head, or if they are easily changeable and you're not kind of going for one and you're not sure where you're going, then that's not going to help you. It's not going to guide you, and you're more likely to get knocked down and stay down. That ability to get back up again and keep going is dependent on having those goals really clear in your head. You've got to keep your eye on the prize, and that, the force of that, is what's going to get you moving forward again when you get knocked down. But I've got to say here, what's super important is that those goals carry meaning for you at all times. Unfortunately, I see a lot of people who are so steadfast on one goal that they forget to check in with themselves to see if that goal is still really important to them. There are some people, especially, this does happen a lot with those high achievers, where they get those blinkers on and they're heading for one thing and don't realize when actually their priorities have shifted, or that maybe their heart's not in it anymore. And so doing a regular check-in of your goals, making sure that they are still relevant to you, is going to be really important. And that's important whether you're working on building resilience or not, because unfortunately I've seen people who have worked like crazy for years and years and years going after a goal that they had set, and they never bothered to check in to see if that was still their primary concern. And then lo and behold, they achieve that goal and it doesn't match up to their expectations, or it's no longer what they actually wanted. You can save yourself a lot of pain if you are doing regular check-ins, because those goals can shift and morph, and they can alter depending on who you are becoming every step of the journey towards that goal. The number 3 way you're going to build resilience is to go out there and do your thing. Put yourself in new opportunities where you may sometimes fail. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and to try it and to do it, knowing that it's not always going to work. But by giving yourself that experience, you will build the resilience. It will start becoming familiar to you, and that will allow you to build the confidence and the courage to continue to try. Now, I mentioned that there was one thing that you shouldn't do. Even though some people will tell you that this is the right way to go, you should not be practicing failing, putting yourself out there for things that don't really matter to you, and just for the experience of developing a thick skin. Hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell icon so that you can be made aware of all the new videos when they come out, because these videos are recorded for you to help you on your journey.